Right. So he's sort of playing it two ways, right? He's saying, okay, yeah, in the short term, it's like for a few more years, I admit we need fossil fuels, right? But then, of course, the long-term thing is this thing that's been, it's kind of like the catastrophists, like they were always wrong about the present, but they were always just premature.
Yeah,
so it's like, oh, we were right, but it's just been delayed how far we were right. And so I always try to find things that anyone can know for certain that totally contradict the alleged expert narrative to show that there's something wrong with the method of thinking of the expert narrative. So in this case, what is the obvious thing of saying solar and wind are going to provide us amazing energy security? Besides the fact that they're unreliable and they depend on reliable energy, they all are controlled by China. So Russia's involvement in oil and gas, particularly vis-a-vis the US, is nothing compared to China's complete control of the supply chain of solar and wind. In particular, not just the mining of minerals, but the processing of key elements. They totally control that. They can cut that off on a whim. So the idea of putting this as this is security to depend on solar and wind, like if solar and wind were way cheaper, we'd have a real security concern because we say, well, they're cheaper, but we depend on China. But here they're not cheaper. They can't replace fossil fuels at all because they're unreliable and batteries are nowhere near the scale to support them in any kind of Rube Goldberg scheme people can imagine. So they're more expensive, they're not reliable, and they come from the most unstable source imaginable. So this is not again, the goal is not seriously thinking about what will advance human flourishing. It's just this desire to eliminate our impact at all costs. And not that Biden is deeply anti-human himself, but he's following this dogma of we should eliminate our impact. And in particular, above all, we need to eliminate our CO2 emissions.